here's my object I'm going to show, something I made right now. And I'm not just showing you this to make you look at my ugly writing, actually. It's to tell about a reoccurring problem in my life that I've had pretty much since I was in school, I guess. So a lot of times when I was in elementary school, I would have problems, maybe not with creative writing necessarily, but with like personal writing. A lot of times when they would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or how do you feel about this? It was really hard for me to explain, and I would normally not turn in anything, or maybe I would just put it off till they forced me to write something I didn't actually believe in. And a lot of that has to do with a reoccurring, I do have procrastination issues, so that's kind of, a thing. But I think when it comes to personal writing in itself, it was hard to me imagine all the things I wanted to do, and I would have to be like a different person to really do the things I wanted. And a lot of times I wasn't really, especially as a kid, I wasn't sure who I was in the moment. I'd have to ask someone else, And as I went into high school, a lot of these problems kind of didn't go away, but the school kind of changed. They started making you write more about academic things. They weren't necessarily, I kind of avoided any classes that made you talk about yourself and stuff. And I remember once, it was my senior year in high school, so maybe only around 4 or 5 years ago, I had to retake English because, as I said, I still had a procrastination problem, but it caused me to fail English the first time around. And I was taking it with a bunch of freshmen, and actually I was doing very well in the class. I had like 100% until we got to, of course, a point which I'm sure seemed easy to her when she assigned it. But the teacher said, write about someone who was a hero in your life. Write about something that deeply impacted you. And I all of a sudden just, stalled up, and I didn't know what to write, and I thought about it for a really long time, and finally the day came, and I just lied and said, oh, I forgot about it, or I didn't want to say I didn't know what to write, because it felt, embarrassing to say, I was almost 18, and I couldn't just write about something that simple. And as I went into college, I have gotten better in some ways. The procrastination is kind of a separate issue, but they play into each other, because once I start doubting myself, I will kind of put off things more and more. I'll get into the habit. But of course, last time I took a speech class, I was able to do some speeches, and I realized that even though, especially now when I look back, as I learn more and just kind of talk to my family, I kind of know the reasons that I'm like this, but I also know that I have to kind of deal with it because it's not going to go away. It's just something that will always be there. And so despite that, I make do, and hopefully, I force myself to kind of live with this, so.